All right, so this is going to be combining a lot of different concepts that we've already covered up to this point. It's also going to give us a little bit of an introduction and reinforcing our yield percentage, okay? The reason why I like to use brisket is because it has had that pretty drastic yield percentage, okay? We're going to lose a lot of product in the process of cooking and preparing this brisket, okay? So here we go. Chris's Bistro serves barbecue brisket. The as-purchased cost of the brisket is $4.95 per pound. The yield factor is 55%. The standard serving size is 8 ounces, and he sells the brisket for $16.95 per portion. That is a whole lot of information. How many of y'all did I lose you after the as-purchased cost? Just zoned out. You're like, whoa, what's going on? What's your question?
Is the yield factor the same as
edible portion? Yes.
Yeah,
that yield. Well, so the yield factor is that 55%. So that's the percent on the bottom of that triangle where we have edible portion. So edible portion will be actually in the weight. As the as purchased will be, of course, we purchased by the pounds. The edible portion is in that same weight. But the percentage, that yield factor, is that percentage, okay, 55%. So here's what I recommend that you do. In the margin, right off the side, go ahead to the left-hand side, go ahead and write everything that you know, okay? So the first sentence, the second sentence, the as-purchased cost of the brisket is what? $4.95. So over there in the margin to the left, just write AP equals $4.95 per pound. Oops. $4.95 per pound. Okay? And then I cross that off. Boom. I got that sentence taken care of. What's my yield factor? Yield factor equals 55%. Good. I've got that thing down. What's the next sentence? Serving, meaning my standard portion size is what? 8 ounces. I cross that off. He sells the brisket for $16.95 per serving or per portion. That's my selling price. $16.95 per serving. Does this right here look more familiar? Things that you can recognize and actually things that we've talked about? Have we not talked about our selling price before?
Mm-hmm.
Have we not talked about a standard serving size? Okay, we've just introduced yield factor, so we're going to see how that works here in just a little bit. And then as purchased, that's how much we buy it for, $4.95 per pound. Okay, so we have all those things taken care of. All right, so here we go. Now, welcome to my world. Like if I'm in my apartment, I'm recording these lectures, I'm like, oh my gosh, one more time, let's do it. Okay, so I'm gonna write this out this time. So our as purchased weight, we're gonna divide by multiply by our yield factor percentage, okay? That gives us our edible portion in pounds. Then,
Yes, well, that we did divide.
I know, but now we need to multiply by 16 ounces. And that gives us our edible portion in ounces. And now we divide by the serving size. Okay? Serving size. So, now let's put their numbers to it.
Okay, so this is
So 12 pounds, this is the correct way. Times our yield factor of 0.55 gives us 6.6 pounds, right? Well, we have 16 ounces in each pound, so we have to multiply by that 16. So we get 105.6 ounces. That's our total edible portion. And now we divide by our 8-ounce serving size, and we get 13.2 servings. Portion, servings, the same thing. It's the same number. It's the same word. Okay. 13.2 servings. Can we run that up to 14? No. Can we run it down to 13? Yes. Okay. We basically would have an almost extra 25%, almost an extra quarter of a serving for each brisket. How often do we only serve one brisket? Very rarely, right? So you have two options. When we go on the next one, we can keep it at 13.2 or we can go down to 13. If it's 13.9, can we make it 14? No. That's 0.1 off of a whole serving. I can't create brisket out of nothing. Okay, so in this case, we cannot round up to the nearest whole number. Okay, so 13.2 servings is what we get. We all agree on that?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. How much money in sales should he expect to bring in from that 12-pound brisket? So how many servings did we get? So before we do this, before numbers, we do our serving times our selling price. That one's super easy, y'all. That equals our total sales. So how many servings did we get? 13.2 servings. Okay, we multiply that by $16.95. And go ahead and calculate it and compare answers with your neighbor. See if you got the same answer. Make sure you typed it in correctly.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
What did you get?
That one.
Okay.
Do we all agree? $223.74? That's my sales. That's how much I should bring in from those 13.2 servings. If someone decides to give out 10-ounce servings instead of 8-ounce servings, am I going to get all 13 servings? No. That means my sales are going to be affected. So that's why it's so important that we weigh everything when it comes to weight and standard portion size. Okay? How many of y'all have eaten at Rudy's Barbecue? Right? And most places when you go to eat barbecue, they're weighing it and charging you a price per pound. They don't just say it's $16.95. They charge you by the pound, so you're actually paying what you actually bought. Okay? So here we go. What is the portion cost of that 12-pound brisket? What is that portion cost? Okay? So here's the first step. We take our as purchased weight. This is actually a lot more simple than it maybe sounds. Our as purchased weight times our as purchased cost. As purchased weight times the as purchased cost. That gives us our total cost. And now we simply divide by the number of servings. Okay? So our total cost, what's our as purchased weight? 12 pounds. What does it cost per pound? $4.95 per pound. Okay? $59.40 is what it cost me for that brisket. Okay? Now, the reason why we can simply divide by our number of servings, 13.2, is because we've already factored in our yield factor. Okay? We've already applied our yield factor to figure out how many servings we get from that one brisket. So that's why we can just do a simple divide. There's another way to do it where you can use that yield factor, but I don't want to do that right now. Okay? I want you guys to get the basics of this to get started. So what's 59.40 divided by 13.2 servings? So it's $4.50. That is our cost per serving. Our cost per serving is $4.50. Okay, we're good so far. Any questions? All right, moving along. So our food cost percentage. Here we go. Here's our triangle. Cost, percent, sales. What is our food cost? We just calculated it. $4.50. What is our selling price?
$16.95.
$16.95 per portion. Okay, and we're looking for our percentage. So what do we do?
Divide
$4.50 divided by our $16.95 and 26.54%. 0.265. Remember, we gotta move that decimal place over too, because we're gonna multiply it by 100.
Oh, okay. To make it a percent.
Make it a percentage. 26.54%. Okay, is that a good food cost percentage? It's below 30, so that's not bad.
Wait, why do we use the decimal? Oh, because
We multiply by 100.
percentage.
Yep, we're looking for a percentage. Okay. Questions, comments, concerns so far? The sales is given $16.95 per portion, and their cost is $4.50 per portion. Okay. Now, this is where it's super important, even more important than cost, because this right here is going to tell us how much we actually need to buy. If we do not use this food cost, or if we do not use this yield percentage, we will not order enough product. And we don't want to run out of food, do we? No. Okay. So here we go. He booked a party for 250 people. They're all having brisket. Hallelujah. Okay. We don't have to do any extra special cost. We're just doing brisket. How many pounds of brisket does he need to purchase for the party? Okay. So we're in words, no numbers yet. Okay. The number of people times the serving size. That equals edible portion needed. Excuse me. Edible portion needed. Now, I have to apply the yield factor. So using my triangle over here, edible portion, percentage, and then my as purchased. In this case, how many pounds of brisket does he need to purchase? What am I looking for? I'm looking for my as purchased, right? So what's left over? Edible portion divided by percent. So we divide this by the yield factor percent. Okay, yield factor percent. Let's put some numbers here. How many people?
250.
250 people. Times 8 ounces. $2,000 ounces, right? That's my edible portion. That's the 2,000 ounces that I need to slice up to serve my 8-ounce portions. If I only ordered 2,000 ounces, what's going to happen? I'm going to run out of food. My product's going to shrink. Okay? So that's why we take this 0.55, and what do we get? 2,000 ounces divided by 0.55. Alex, what did you get? Okay, 3,636 ounces. Now, do I call up Cisco and say, hey, Cisco, I need 3,636 ounces of brisket? No.
Pounds.
We order brisket by the pound. Okay? We need more. We need to divide this by our 16 ounces, and that's going to give us our amount to order in pounds. So 227.27 pounds. So I might go ahead and make it 228 pounds of ordering brisket. Okay? Do we see how that works?
Yes. So the reason why you just went ahead and used the 2,000 divided by 0.55 is because that's what we're using, the percentage from the original.
Yep.
So we
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
to go and find anything else.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we book a party for 250 people. They're all having brisket. How many pounds of brisket does he need to purchase for the party? We got how many pounds? 227.27. Okay, so we're going to keep it with the decimal. So what is our total cost for our brisket? In words, no numbers. As purchased, weight, times as purchased cost. Simple as that. Yeah. When you buy brisket at the grocery store, right, it's the number of pounds times
The weight.
the cost per pound. So in this case, we have 227.27 pounds times $4.95, right? That was our cost per pound. It's the same way you buy produce, or the same way you buy meat in the grocery store. Okay, so 227.27. Even? No sense?
1125. Why I put it?
1,124.98. Okay, so that's 98 cents. You can do 125. That's fine. 11.25.
I gotta even do.
Well, 1124.986. So 99. Okay. So it cost us $1,100 to make brisket for 250 people.
Wow, it's a lot.
That's a lot of money, right? But like Alexa just said, what are we charging them? If we're charging them $16.95, I'm gonna do it in greens because it represents money. Oops. Oh, what happened? No, don't say it's not. Okay. There we go. We're perfect. $16.95 times 250 people equals
42.37.
$4,237.50. That's what I'm charging my client. So it cost me $1,100. That sounds like a huge number, but I'm charging my client $4,237.
So you're more than double.
Nope, that is just our brisket. That does not take into consideration our potato salad, or our beans, or our coleslaw. That is literally just brisket.
Jalapeno.
Prep and cooking.
Well, that 4,237 is what we're selling it for. If we take out that 1124, that's our food cost. Then we take out the cost for our charcoal, take out our cost for the labor, all of that. So our profit is not just simply that minus that. We have to take into account all of our cost. This is just food cost. Food cost only. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns about this? Now, this is where it gets fun. Okay? Same thing, but we want to plan for a 10% overage. So in catering, if I have an event for 200 people, do I make exactly 200 servings?
No.
No. I'm always going to have some kind of an overage. Okay? The bigger the number, the smaller the percentage overage. Okay? Sorry, the smaller the number, the bigger the percentage usually. Okay? I can't just say it's a blanket 5% or 10% overage. If I'm planning an event for 2,000 people, if I do a 10% overage, that's an extra 200 portions. I probably don't need an extra 200 portions, okay? But what does that overage cover?
In case something gets dropped or if there's a
Something gets dropped, good.
Tastings.
Somebody might be tasting it, right? Extra people just showing up that didn't RSVP. Those rude people.
So they don't get fed. I'm just kidding.
You know you're not on the list? I'm so sorry. Unfortunately, you did not RSVP. Let's learn your lesson. No, just kidding. Okay, so we always do an overage. So in this case, we want to do a 10% overage. So we start with our 250 people. Let's go way back. 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. What do we multiply by to get our new number? 1.1. Remember? The 1 is the 250 people. The 0.1 is the 10%. And we get 275. Okay, that's the shortcut. The other way to do it is 250 times 0.1 gives me 25. And then I add that to 250. And I get 275. Same number, same way, different options. This is a shortcut. This is a two-step process.
So the point, whatever is the percentage you want to add more?
Exactly. Remember, we add the percentage to 1. So whatever, we're going up by 10%. Since we're increasing, we add it to 1. So 1.1. Well, 1.10, you can do 1.10, but that's an imaginary zero.
So just so I can write it down, so like it makes sense.
Yeah. It's an imaginary zero.
One more question. I'm not trying to
No.
confuse anyone, but the first one was that for 250,
The first one is the 250.
and that's always going to be one no matter the number.
If you're increasing, you always add your percentage to 1.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Okay? Because that 1 is going to multiply the 250. The 0.1 is going to multiply by the 250, and it's going to add it together automatically. It's that shortcut. So now we have two. Do you have a question, Juan?
So if it's 20%, you add 1.2.
Good. Yeah. If it was a 20% increase, you'd multiply by 1.2. Okay? Yes.
Random thing. If it was 200%, it'd be 2.0.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're increasing by 200%, yeah. Yep. Wait.
Three?
It would be 3.
Three. So you're adding one no matter what, right?
Mm.
Adding one if you're increasing, decreasing your.
David. I'm about to think about that one. Well, yeah, because it would be 3 because a 100% increase of 250 would be 500,
So would be a whole 3%? No.
and then a 200% increase would be an extra. Yeah, it would be 3. Yeah, it'd still be 1. All right. So how many pounds will he need? This is the same kind of question. So now I'm not going to do the wording again, but we're going to start with 275 people. We multiply by 8-ounce servings. And this time we get, oops, this is not dollars. This time we get 2,200 ounces. Okay. We divide by, I'm going to do it slightly different. I'm going to show you this time. We're going to divide by 16 ounces this time. Okay. And we get how many pounds? 137.5. Okay. 137.5 pounds. But now we do the 0.55. Okay.
Because you have to convert those 2,200 ounces to pounds.
Yeah. So in this example, we converted the ounces to pounds first and then applied the yield factor. The other example, we used the yield factor first and then converted that to pounds. I did that so you can see you can do it either way. I don't care which way you do it.
Wait, so this is two different ways to do it?
It's the same steps. It's just this one we converted into pounds first and then did our yield factor. The other one we did our yield factor and then converted all those big ounces into pounds.
So what's the right answer for this?
It's the same one for 250 pounds. If you did it either way. Do you want me to show you so I can prove it? Let me prove it to you. That's how much we have to order.
That's the new number.
That's our new number because we increased it to 275 people. So let me show you. 250 people times 8 ounces is 2,200 ounces. Oops, why did I do that? Okay. Now we divide by our 0.55. Gives me 4,000 ounces. And now I divide by 16, it'll give me 250 pounds. Okay?
So the thing what you're doing right here is just swapping the last two.
I just swapped the two steps. It's division, so it's interchangeable. Okay? The only thing I'm going to say is that whatever method you go, whichever steps you do those steps consistently. That way you don't make a mistake. Okay? I personally like this method better. Okay? I get this method better because it ends up with 250 pounds. It ends up with the pounds. A lot of people will do this first one, they get to pounds, they think they're done, but they haven't done the yield factor yet. So that's why I like the bottom method, because when you get to pounds, that's like your final answer. Instead of up here, this is your final answer, you think, but no, you haven't done the yield factor yet. Okay? So that's why I like the bottom one better. I encourage you to do that.
Wait, where did you get the 4,000 pounds? I mean ounces?
I did 2,200 divided by 0.55, and I got 4,000 ounces.
Oh, I divided the 0.55 on the 137.
And that's fine.
He did that.
That's fine.
Oh, it's the same thing.
It gives you the same answer.
Got it.
It's just you did the yield factor at 2 different steps. Okay, but like I said, I encourage you to do the bottom one because I did the yield factor first, and I get to pounds, and that's my final answer is 250 pounds. Okay.
So we have people times serving equals
The edible portion.
total portion divided by.
In the red circle, divide by our yield factor. That's our as purchased ounces. But we don't call Cisco and say, hey, Cisco, I need 4,000 ounces of brisket.
They'll sell it to you by ounces.
I don't know about that. I'll ask you how many pounds. Okay,
Sure.
They're not gonna ask you. You don't call up them and say I need 4,000 ounces. You call and you order those things by the pound. So how much will it cost, Chris, to buy briskets for 275 people? How many pounds did I need?
250 pounds.
250 pounds is what I needed, and I multiply that simply 4.95 per pound.
12.37 and 50 cents.
That's how much it's going to cost me.
Did I already get them?
For the brisket.
We got it for the answer for 250 people, not 275 people. Okay?
It's 1, 2, 3, 7, 5.
And 50 cents. That's how much it's going to cost me to purchase enough brisket to feed 275 people.
All right.
Questions, comments, concerns? Okay. So, this is what we are. Okay, so let me everyone put your pencils down for one moment. Okay, put your pencils down for one moment. Something you can do to make sure that all of your costs are covered. Okay, I can take this, let's see how I want to say this. Hold on. $16.95 is what I'm charging, right? My 250 people. If I actually multiply that by 275, okay, that gives me $4,661.25. If I divide that number by 250, which is the actual one that I'm actually charging the guests for, I'm not charging the guests for 275 people.
Right.
I'm charging them for 250 people. So I should actually, instead of $16.95, I should charge them $18.64 because that's going to cover the cost for those extra 25 portions. If they don't sell them, if people don't show up, I've cooked that 25 portions regardless. I'm still out that cost of $1,237.50. I'm still out that cost because I prepared that amount of brisket. So do you see how I did that? What I normally charge at $16.95 for the 275 people, this is the sales that I should bring in to cover these costs here. So I divide that by the actual number of guests I'm serving, and I'm going to actually increase it to $18.64 instead of $16.95. Okay? Yeah, I'm going to quote the client $18.64 for their brisket. Okay? Now that's just the brisket. If I cost out my potato salad, and I cost out my coleslaw, and my beans, and my rolls, and my jalapenos, and my onions, and my pickles, all that fun stuff,
And the sweet tea.
I'm going to add all that stuff up, and that's
$50
what I
a
would
plate.
total actually charge the client. So when you think about it, how many of you have actually looked at catering menus lately? Anybody look at catering menus lately? Once in a while? How much, I mean, what's an example of a catering item on a catering menu that you've looked at recently?
Chick-fil-A.
Like on your catering menu at the hotel. Have you looked at it? Okay. So what's an item on the menu? Okay, so a house salad, probably an entree with a protein, starch, and vegetable, and maybe a dessert. And they're going to charge a whole price for it, right? In a hotel, if it's a chicken, it's probably about the $35 mark. If you're in a steak protein, it's the $45, $50 mark per person. Because that's all those extra things added up into that cost per person, okay? And so that's why it's so important that we at least cover these costs up here.
That 1864 is for an 8-ounce brisket
Yeah.
serving.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
16.
Half a pound. Half a pound.
Half a pound of brisket
Yeah.
per person.
1864.
Absolutely.
And